in pro sports. Coco Crisp, former A's outfielder, Tim Salmon, Mike Trout, Paul Coffey, Dijon Thompson, all no-brainer brand opportunities. So when Taylor Heineke started getting attention in Washington, obviously, a partnership with Heineken was in his future. How could it not be? Hello, Heineken, who better to partner with than Heineke? No one. Easiest marketing campaign since Julius Peppers or Jerry Rice or Chili Davis or Joe Mayo. Tap the glass. Heineke drinking Heineken, except for this, Heineken not interested. Well, guess who pounced when they heard that news? You guessed it, Bud Light, who tweeted immediately ready and waiting when they heard Heineke's disappointment. Next day, they send over a trough of beer. So Heineke posts this with a name like Heineke, only one beer to part with, not Heineken. I'm joining Bud Light. New campaign, we're calling it Heineke Bud Lighteke. Thank you and good night. Money moves, Taylor. Money moves, buddy. I love it.
Smart man. He's a smart man. Heineken missed out, Wild.
That's good. Good for him.
Well, you know, old Grandma Wilds was concerned when he saw Lamar Jackson flipping into the end zone. Grandma said, don't get me wrong, I like enthusiasm, but I'm a little bit wary that you might hurt yourself, and there's a rash of injuries in Baltimore. I don't want you to join the list. Well, what did Lamar Jackson say yesterday to reporters? He said, guess what? Old Grandma Wilds was right, and his concern was warranted, because he said after slip, guess what? His hip was hurting. Or he said he would do it again, but overall, his hip was hurting. So here's the deal. I don't mind. I've changed my tune on this. I don't want to be against enthusiasm. But now, Harbaugh, you need to practice flips into the end zone. You can't be neutral on it. You're either not flipping or you have to practice flips. So from now on, end every practice, 5 minutes, while Joe Judge usually uses that time to have the Giants do laps, you can practice flipping into the end zone. Everybody wins.
There you go. Good take. I like
it.
that as well, Wilds.
I like it.
We're drawing a blank. Talking some Ben Simmons after Warriors owner Joe Lacob was fined $50,000 for some rather eye-popping comments he made about Ben. He told the San Francisco Chronicle this: in some ways, it doesn't really fit with what we're doing. He makes a lot of money, and can he finish games? I don't know. He's very talented. The problem is we have Draymond Green. Draymond and him are very similar in the sense that neither one really shoots, and they do a lot of the playmaking. That's one issue. The salary structure is the other. So Broussard, Lacob saying Simmons doesn't fit what the Warriors are doing is blank.
Bullseye, Jenna, bullseye. And I think he's been watching FS1 because I've been saying this from day one. If I've got Ben Simmons, I don't need Draymond Green. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still interested in Ben Simmons. I'm just looking to put Draymond Green in that package. Ben Simmons is a more athletic, a younger, a bigger version of Draymond Green. And what Draymond did for the Warriors is tremendous, and that's still probably why he's there. But I would look to package him. Now, Philadelphia probably isn't interested in Draymond. But I'd look at I'd throw out a Draymond Green, rookie draft pick, Jonathan Kuminga, and some future picks to get Ben Simmons. I think Ben Simmons would be tremendous in Golden State. And Daryl Morey, your good friend, Nick, maybe he's watching. I hope he's watching. Daryl, you could use Draymond. You need a leader on the court. You need somebody to get in Joel Embiid's rump when it's time. All right, you need a guy to teach your players how to win, and that is Draymond Green. I know the analytics are all numbers, but Draymond's got the intangibles. All right, he brings inspiration to that squad, so he could help you guys in the Eastern Conference. But I'm with Lacob on this. I don't know how you play those two together. It's possible, perhaps. Possible. But two non-shooters on the floor in today's NBA would be tough, Nick. So I'm with Lacob on this.
So I'm not with Lacob, and also I'm very, very surprised because Broussard is as great of an NBA analyst as there is in America. I'm surprised he would just have a fact error on this wrong. It's in the CBA. You can't trade clutch clients for each other. It's paragraph 7, subtitle 4. So be careful on that one. So I don't even know if that's allowed to happen. But let's just assume that they weren't able to get past that, rule. I disagree with almost everything you said. So my answer is this is not light years ahead. So first of all, it's an expensive insult. It's like, hey, you want to insult a player on another team and cost yourself $50,000. That ain't great. Also, low-key included an insult of Draymond in there, where he's like, can't have 2 non-shooters on the court. Draymond's like, hey, buddy, I did go 6 for 8 in a Game 7 of the NBA Finals from 3. Granted, that was 5 years ago, and since then he has become a terrible shooter. But still, Draymond's not exactly known to be a guy that doesn't forget insults. But the other part of it is, I just disagree on the merits that Ben and Draymond couldn't play together. Think about the Warriors in 15 and 16, Broussard. Sean Livingston was a huge part of that team. He shoots threes as rarely as Ben Simmons. Sean Livingston shot 5 total threes in 5 total postseasons with the Warriors. Shot 24 total in his 5 years with them in the regular season. So that's a touch more than Ben Simmons, but essentially he's never shooting them. Also, those Warriors pre-KD, you'd have Mo Spates or Festus Ezeli or Andrew Bogut on the court, often with Draymond. So if you ran a lineup of Steph, Clay, player X, whether it's Poole or Wiggins, I would say probably Wiggins.
Oh, it's Wiggins.
Draymond and Ben. Okay, so let's say it's Wiggins. I think all of a sudden you have a great defensive team. Not good, great. Ben and Draymond are 2 of the best defenders in basketball. Wiggins, I gave you credit for this. You were right. I had underrated him as a defender. We don't know what Clay will be as a defender. But the other reason, Wilds, this is just missing the mark, in my opinion, by by Joe Lacob is, this ain't your job, bro. This is Bob Myers' job. And sometimes you do things that put your team in a tougher position. And we found out yesterday, there was an article in San Francisco Chronicle, Andrew Wiggins, as of right now, would not be allowed to play 41 home games this year for the Warriors because he's refusing to be vaccinated, and San Francisco won't let you play if you're not. If he sticks with that stance, then you have to make a big trade. And Ben Simmons would be the best guy you can get. So none of this to me is proper commentary by Joe Lacob. None of it.
So I would love to see Simmons on the Warriors, and I think you made an interesting point about the defense. Like, we don't know Clay. Like, the idea that Clay is going to be this all-world defender that he used to be coming after two injuries, I don't buy it. I think he's going to take a step down, so I think Ben would be great. Here's the other thing about Ben joining the Warriors. You got Steve Kerr, you got Steph Curry, you got Klay Thompson. You have 3 literally of the best 3-point shooters of all time. And what I thought was interesting about Lacob saying, he doesn't shoot, look, Ben is not a finished product. And I know that he has had his struggles, obviously, but my answer is Horford inspiration. There is a path here. We look at how Al Horford started his career. The guy literally took no threes, none. First 8 years, he took 65 threes. Then he popped up in 2015. He's like, you know what? I'm going to take some threes. He took 256. In the last 5 years, he's took over 1,000, Broussard. So look, I don't think that Ben Simmons, the story of Ben Simmons and how much he shoots is over. Granted, Horford didn't want to, and he was a better shooter mid-range, and Ben's, still questionable. But it is something you can learn, and being in that Warriors environment would be the perfect place to learn it.
Well, look, Wilds, to double your point, Jason Kidd's an even better example. Couldn't shoot a lick when he came into the league, left as one of the top 3-point shooters, at least in production, when he retired. Nick, hey, look, I'm not saying it is impossible for Draymond and Ben to play together, because you're right, it might work. But to your examples from 2015, Sean Livingston used to come off the bench, and then Festus Ezeli or Andrew Bogut, they were rim protectors. So they were 7-footers that played at the rim. So there's a little bit of difference. Plus, the NBA, even in those few years, has changed a bit to where sometimes you need more shooting. But
that's right.
It's not impossible. I just don't love it. I'd love it more if Draymond were in the trade and you got back Simmons.
Fortunately,
well, here's what we do know. It's going to be rocky road ahead for Philly.
Built to serve.
First things first, the Bucks are taking their undefeated show on the road. Next stop, Hollywood. Should they be worried about Matt Stafford and the Rams? The Warriors with a big no thanks for Ben Simmons' services. Are they making a mistake passing on the All-Star? And coming off a loss in Week 2 is Patrick Mahomes under the most duress entering Week 3. Good Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome to First Things First. Oh, I love when I start the show with a question about the Chiefs and Mahomes being under duress. Jenna and Broussard and Kevin Wilde. Mahomes is not going to let the Chiefs lose 2 in a row, Nick. There's no way. It's like, it can't happen. It's not out there in the ether to happen.
There is no way. Literally never happened with Mahomes. So, yes, I agree with you. I agree. It's not going to happen because it's an impossibility.
I love when we're on the same page.
It's a good take, Jenna.
Same page this morning. Yeah, full of them, Nick. I'm full of them. We'll get to that in a second. We got to start with rookie Justin Fields, though, set to make his first NFL start. The 11th overall pick in April's draft will be in for the injured Andy Dalton, getting the nod Sunday against the Browns. Fields says he's ready, says he feels like he belongs in this role, that he's made for this, and that the moment